Stuart, first of all, congratulations on being named permanent England head coach.
Thank you.
After starting the progression by England so far, you must be delighted to have the opportunity to take them further.
Yeah, obviously it's a huge honour, privilege. I'm struggling to sort of find the words really, to be honest, because for coming from where I've come from as a coach to get through and work my way to this point and get the opportunity to coach England and lead them into a World Cup on home soil is fantastic really, and but also great credit to the team that surrounded us in the Six Nations, because ultimately it became a connection and extension of that team that probably gave me the opportunity. It's
been quite some progression for you personally. Am I right that almost to this day, last year you were coaching the under-17 England team?
Yeah, I mean I've coached at all sorts of levels, and I was with England 17s this time last year. I did the season with them. I did obviously the Saxons as well. I've coached at district level, at age grade level. I've coached at Premiership level and academy level, and I'm obviously coaching my under-11 team last night actually. So I've had a widespread, but I've been supported by some fantastic people along the way, and great credit should go to all them for their support and for what they've done in supporting me to get to this point.
Irene, you've spoken about a global exhaustive search for your head coach. And how important have the four-man advisory panel you've had been in towards appointing you to Stuart?
I think you've got to face it, this is one of the top jobs in world rugby, so I think it's been right to spend a lot of time on the process, a lot of discussions, a lot of interviews, and I think the advisory panel have been a fantastic assistance. They've been very professional, they've been very objective. We spent a lot of time discussing these things. I think Stuart probably feels that this has been the longest job interview in history, never mind right back almost to December, never mind what we've done as part of the process. But I think you've got to do the right things to get to the right end result. And we've had some fantastic applicants, some fantastic candidates, but I think we've ended up with the right conclusion.
And you've spoken before about the importance of that process, given the public support behind Stuart. Can you talk broadly about what that process was and the steps you've gone through to get to where we are today?
Well, I think the first thing to say is that we had a very high list of applicants. Let's be clear, this is a comparative process as well. We've had extensive discussions using the headhunters who've handled the process, who've managed the process, I think, very effectively. Then there's been a whole sequence of interviews. There's been a whole sequence of individual discussions as well. And we've dedicated, quite rightly, many hours to that sort of process. I think that has to be the right thing to do. And I think it's probably been the most extensive and exhaustive search that there's been for an England head coach ever.
Given you described it as extensive and exhaustive, how has it been from your point of view? Balancing
extensive and exhaustive for us. No, it's been, I've known all along the process, and I've been fully committed to it, because ultimately, I've sat on the other side of the fence appointing coaches. I understand the need to do due diligence and interview properly and conduct it in the right way. I have to say it's been absolutely fantastically handled. Obviously I had some demands during the Six Nations, but there was still time for me to prepare and put my best foot forward. Obviously I'm delighted at the outcome, particularly when you look at the quality of the people who were advising, obviously Ian's decision, but Ian on the process, the people who I highly respect, and to get an endorsement from them is of great confidence and satisfaction for me personally as a coach, but also a great reflection on what we achieved, I think, during the Six Nations.
I would like to pay thanks, if I may, because I think going back to what Stuart was saying, I mean, Ian McGeechan, Conor O'Shea, Richard Hill, Rob Andrew, given up a lot of their time, and I mean a lot of their time, to assist in this. And being new to it, the calibre of conversation that we've had, the professionalism that they applied, I'm sure it's not a surprise to anybody else who knows them, but this was the first time I've had an opportunity to meet all these people. And I really do think that I've been hugely impressed and most grateful for them, for the view that they've come. And as Stuart said, to get to a view where this is a very strong endorsement from the advisory panel as well is, I think, hugely helpful.
And looking at Stuart's effectively audition through the Six Nations, how important was the culture he's created, and how important were the results he's achieved in making this decision?
Well, I think it's been interesting to me. This is a very multifaceted job. Sure, at the end of the day, we all want the England team to win, and that's the end result. But there's relationships with PRL, there's relationships within the RFU. It's quite complicated, and what Stuart's been able to demonstrate is that he can manage all of those relationships, as well as obviously managing the team in the right way. But I think the values that all of us would espouse at the RFU are the same values that Stuart's already inculcated into the team. And I think it's very important that there's an integrated approach across all of those areas and across all of the England teams. This is about coaching per se the England senior team, but it's very important that we have a lot of joined up writing, if you like, between all of those. And again, by Stuart's background, he's demonstrated that amply before. So I think that whole view about how do we integrate the whole parts of the RFU together, I know that Stuart buys into that, and I know that he's already demonstrated by his relationship building that we can achieve that.
And how important was it to have an Englishman coaching the England rugby team?
Well, I think, you know, pride of wearing the shirt and getting everything there, I think it's been a factor. I think I said all along that it was not the most important factor. The most important factor, irrespective of nationality, was to get the best man for the job. And we think that Stuart is the best man for the job. It's a bonus that he's English, and delighted with that.
Now, Stuart, we must just touch on your coaching team from the Six Nations. You spoke at length about the chemistry and the balance between the three of you. And we know Graham Roundtree's still contracted to the RFU, which leaves Andy Farrell, who isn't. Are you intending to try and involve him in the New England setup? Yeah,
we've got to have some conversations about the coaching team beyond this day, to be honest. You know, obviously clear from my point of view. My appointment was ratified this morning, and I found out about 24 hours ago. So next step, obviously, is for us to ratify and get together that coaching team that I'm after. But that's for a bit further down the line, certainly looking into next week, and we've got to have the right conversations with the right people at the right time.
But Andy was an important part of what happened in the Six Nations, no doubt.
Absolutely. You know, as was Graham, and so were, you know, the analysts and the conditioners and the physios and lots of other people are in a very similar position. So we need to make sure that all that gets dealt with in the right way, in the right time, and it needs to be done sooner rather than later, because we've got a tour to South Africa coming around the corner.
We just mentioned South Africa's looming large on the horizon. Rapid progression, I think, for a young team in the Six Nations. What do you consider to be progression for this team on a 3-test tour to South Africa?
I think the first benchmark for me will be the motivation of the team, the physical fitness of the team, and the mindset of the team as we meet post-Barbarians game, post-Aviva Premiership final, going into that tour. Because if we haven't got the mindset right to go to South Africa to win, then ultimately we'll not win. I'm confident from the messages that we finished, in terms of the way we finished the Six Nations, from the way the players were talking about peaking for South Africa and finishing their season on the 26th of June after the third test, that we'll have that mindset right. Beyond then, obviously it's about getting back up to speed with our England game plan and the direction we want to go, and getting ourselves ready for what's going to be a huge challenge. The British Lions went there a couple of years ago, did fantastically well and lost 2-1. So we want to go there and win every game, obviously, but 5-test tour, it's going to be tough, but we're looking forward to the challenge.
Just finally, obviously we know Stuart's contracted until January 2016. South Africa's a small step on the way to that World Cup in 2015. But have you set many targets for this tour to South Africa? Well,
it's simple. He's just got to win every game. I mean, I don't see there's any problem with that. I actually know that's his mentality as well. I think nowadays we've got to have that, because if you look at where we are in terms of seeding and what happens for the World Cup, every game is absolutely crucial. Every game was crucial during the Six Nations. So I think we're all conscious of the need to plan for the future, but equally we need to win every game. And I know that's the approach that Stuart and the team go out with.